Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylan String coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And today is the second of the 2 Lithuanian rations that was brought to me last year. Aletha actually physically brought them to me, but she brought some rations from my crusher along with some stuff that she had, and of course I picked up other rations from other people. But this is a Lithuanian menu 2, and what he did on the other one, the chicken one, put the translation on the back, but of course that's no fun. I'm not sure if this is the best buy or the production date. Well, it can't be a production date because it's not August yet. Well, it could be, I suppose. Well, since I've had this last year, so this has to be the best buy because I've had this for maybe not quite a year. I don't remember when it was that Aletha brought these, but so this is the best buy of May of this year, so this is still good to chow down on. And I'm going to make it easy on myself. And again, I apologize in advance for that chirping. That is my dang hardwired smoke detector that maintenance needs to come and deal with, because being that it's hardwired, I cannot get at the battery compartment even if there is one. I'm using my cheaters to open this bag because, see, this little strip, this little tear bit is just like the old brown bag MREs. And you know that's not going to happen. So I find this just quicker, and I bet the Lithuanian soldier in the field would have a blade on them, so they would just slice this bad boy open. So anyway, let's see what we got inside. Definitely I can see a couple of changes since the last time I reviewed one of these. There's LC in the house. The sugar packet is definitely different than what I have had when I did this a few years ago, when I got this menu from Foreign MRE. So this is one of the accessory packets. So this camo pattern on these packets is definitely different. It used to be just a plain dark green, forest green. The matches are the same, and the fuel tabs appear to be the same, and it still says a refreshing towelette. You get a spoon and a little zip tie, and usually the person in the field would probably use the ration bag as their trash bag, just like I do, and then they put all their trash in it and then use the zip tie to tie up the bag so that they can just dispose of it in one shot. The special biscuits, armor plates, whatever you want to call them. Same ones that you get in the Polish rations, but here you get 4 in 1 pack instead of 2 packs of 2. And then you get the thin sheet metal folding stove that you would put the fuel tabs in. And these are shiny enough that you could almost signal with this. And then the main itself, it comes in a box. I just use the scissors to pop the tape. And you get the flameless ration heater. with the longer element and thicker pads than you would have in the standard US MRE FRH. Pakma is the company that does the packing for the Lithuanian military. And then the main entree itself, 240 grams of stewed beef with groats. And that will go into the pot on the stove. I'll go ahead and open up these Ziploc bags. These are pretty good sized fuel taps, so they will get you a pretty decent burn. Then the little zip tie, which I save all these little zips. These are a good size to put in a kit, and that's why I save these, what I save these for. And I save these Ziploc bags because these are a nice size to put all kinds of things in. You know, they're not the thickest bag in the world, but they are a pretty decent quality. We get the lemon scented moist towelette. Let's see, we got, there's Mike in the house. There's spicy tuna rolls. Let's see who else is here. Looks like just those three for now. So, a pretty okay spoon. I do not use it, but I save these. These go into my stash of plastic utensils that are part of my emergency supplies. Blue tip matches as always. I will not use the FRH because, you know, I'm in my home. I can go to my kitchen and I can use the stove. Plus, I choose to save the ration heaters for when I do need them. Rooted chocolate, and these are separated. I can tell these are not all mushed together, so that's a good sign. A nice packet or a tub of honey. This is rock hard. So I may not even open this. I just may sit on this since it is so hard. I think you heard that. And here we have the sugar packets. The sugar packets used to be just all this color. Now they're this camel color. Got a packet of coffee. That will go into the for an MRE mug. This is an orange drink mix. And this is just a list. Make sure I got it right. All in Lithuanian. I do not know that language. If I knew a little bit more Polish, I probably could pick up a little bit, but I doubt it. So what I'm going to do now is there is that orange powder. It looks like Tang. And it almost smells like it with a just slight difference in the scent from Tang that I knew as a kid. And you can still buy it. In fact, I have purchased it a couple of times. Some of these drink mixes take a little bit of time to dissolve. So most of the time I mix them up first before I do anything else so that they can take that time to dissolve. And I'll give it a stir later. And I'm using my foreignemery.com sport. You can get that on the Foreign Emery website. Fine powder, probably a medium roast, I would guess. Instead of using the sugar that's provided, because I like my coffee both blonde and sweet, I'm putting some sweetened condensed milk in there. Again, I do apologize for that annoying chirping, but I can't do squat about it until maintenance does. That one is on them. So what I'm going to do now is put this into the pot, and then I will come back with the water for the coffee. Right back. You can also get these Foreign Emery mugs from Art and Nina. So they are working on their move to their new location. So that would explain why you have not seen a whole lot from them. But they will show up when they can. And actually, Art did a review not too long ago. Yeah, speaking of warm, it got up to 87 here in Des Moines, and tomorrow, the forecasted high for tomorrow and Tuesday is 98. But there is a potential that we could actually crack 100. I'm going to go ahead and put that back there. I open up the rest of these. Yeah. Now, for those who live in the Southwest, like Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, maybe parts of Texas, and maybe parts of Nevada. Those areas will definitely be real heaters. In fact, Death Valley got up to 122 today. Or no, wait, that might have been yesterday, because I heard that this morning on the radio. Death Valley got up to 122 yesterday. And since New Mexico has that massive wildfire going on, it's going to make dealing with that fire a whole lot worse. Got hazelnuts here. These are unsalted. Yeah, and for those that are dealing with really, really sketchy power grids, you don't have to have a thunderstorm or hail or a tree going over to knock you out. It could just be too much stress on the system from the demand from everybody running their air conditioners. Right now I have mine here set on 70, but in my bedroom the temperature in there is averaging like 71, 72, and the humidity in there is over 50%, and that's even when I'm not taking a shower. And some places could definitely have blackouts or brownouts, or it could be so bad where the utility would do rolling blackouts for a period of time in order to avoid shocking the system. And only one media outlet here in central Iowa mentioned the possibility of that. And that is one of the two stations that I listen to in the morning. There is TN Bushcrafter in the house. Thanks for dropping in. This is a Lithuanian single meal ration. Menu 2, stewed beef with groats. I'll put the word stewed in the title later when I go to edit the video afterwards, when I can expand the title, because when I'm doing the title in the YouTube app, on my phone, I can only put up to 60 characters, including spaces. But when I go to, for instance, add this to my playlist, I can add to the title, or maybe if I have a typo, I can correct any errors. So I will put the title, I put the word stewed in front of the word beef in the title, since that is what it is. And when I pour it out, you'll see that the groats will be in one half of the slab of food, and then the beef will be in the other, and not mixed like you would see in a Russian kasha or a similar kasha type thing. There is Angry Blacksmith in the house. Thanks for dropping in. But these are hazelnuts. I like hazelnuts. They got good hazelnut flavor. They're raw. They're not salted or roasted, but they're perfectly fine. They got the good hazelnut flavor. The Lithuanian coffee, it's not too bad. I've had better, but I've had worse. And these, you can hear how hard that is. These little specks, I'll turn it to the black side. These are caraway seeds. See if I can get to focus on there. Those dark spots are caraway seeds. Some people don't like that flavor, but I love caraway. And I like these biscuits. Doesn't want to focus. I seriously need to get, I think that's a little better. I need to get a newer phone for streaming, but I don't know if I can just walk into a T-Mobile and ask them if I can buy a phone that is unlocked that would take my old Sprint SIM card. It's either that, or I just look for an unlocked phone on eBay that's newer than the Samsung Galaxy S4 and see if it would take my SIM card. But, you know, I do like how this one renders color. I'm going to take a... Actually, before I do that, I'm going to give this another stir because it still has a plenty of the powder left on the bottom. But it has its issues. I stopped having Sprint service probably back in 2017. And I switched to a different provider, but I kept this phone because it works good for shooting pictures and video, though I cannot use a certain video editor on it anymore. I was using MyMovie, but now I have Power Director on there. And it's a resource hog, but right now it's the only one that works. But because I have the laptop that I got from Curious Pete, I'm able to dump longer videos onto it and use my open shot to splice those pieces together and upload from there. Although it's hard for me to use a laptop because I can't have the screen where I want it and the keyboard where I want it. Unlike a desktop where I can have one positioned exactly where it's best for me to look at it and then still have the keyboard in a good position. So this is what, yeah, it's dissolved now. It kind of tastes like Tang, but it's slightly diluted. Yeah, I like these crackers too. I do like Power Director. It's just that you cannot do huge videos on it unless you dump literally everything else off your phone. So that's why I'm so happy to have this laptop that I can process longer videos and use my open shot, which I was using on my old desktop before it decided to crap out. This cracker is actually not that hard to bite into. Sometimes it can be, but I think because this is a little bit older, this might be a 2-year-old MRE. Yeah, because, as I said, the best buy date was May 15. This is probably produced in 2020. Let's see. I was looking on the sugar packet for a production date of some kind, but I cannot see one, but I can tell by the style of the packaging that it is a newer one, or as before. And I have some of the older packets. Used to have this color only. So I am going to go get my beef with groats, and I'll be right back. I am back, and the little label completely boiled off of the retort. And I just have a paper towel to dry it off. Get that out of the way. And it looks like there was never a label on there. So the tear notch goes across here, just like the old USMRE retort pouches and the pouches in other rations tend to do. See how this, well, that opened really good. Oh, hardly ever anything left in there. So that came out pretty darn clean. Yeah. So this is the groats here. And this is the beef here. I would say it's something on the somewhat like tushonka, which is the Russian stewed beef. It's very soft. It's almost to the point of ground beef. That's how heavily processed it is. Well, I have had sushi before. The first time I had it was in a restaurant that closed up several years ago. In fact, quite a few years before the Big Nasty screwed things up for everybody. And then I've tried it from a grocery store. I was not too happy with that. And then I tried it from a different place. It was okay, but the restaurant sushi is so much better. The groats, it's very soft. It doesn't have the distinct texture of the grain that akasha would have. I mean, it's almost like oatmeal, but there's a bit of veggie in there. See, there's a piece of carrot. It's seasoned pretty well. I can definitely taste the salt, but I can taste some other seasonings in there. But back when I had this menu before, I did enjoy it. And this looks a lot like that did. There is a restaurant here not too far from where I live that sells sushi. It's called Miyabi 9. But that would be a bit upscale for me. There is a Bones Yard in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I am having Lithuanian food tonight. This is a Lithuanian single meal ration. Stewed beef that is more like almost ground beef. And the groats, I'm thinking it might be barley. I'm definitely not tasting oat. But there's a bit of carrot and a bit of mushroom. There is Sunshine Side of Life 77 in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Hope everything is going okay and you're keeping cool where you're at. One thing you can do with this if you want to soak up some of the juices, you can put bits of the cracker in there and just let it sit. So I will do that with those two pieces. And for those just coming in, that chirping is my hardwired smoke detector that started chirping last Thursday. And I put in a maintenance request to have someone deal with it because when I opened it up, I could not see a battery compartment. And because it's hardwired, I cannot take the whole thing down in order to change the battery. And because I'm short, my step stool doesn't get me high enough where I could really see what I'm doing. But no one has come in to take care of that. I don't know if it takes a special battery that I just cannot go to a store and buy or order online, or if the whole thing itself just needs to be replaced. I've only had this in there for I think maybe 4 years. This replaced another one that was in here when I moved in here at the end of October 2016, and it was just barely hanging on. So that one did get replaced, but I don't know what's the deal with this one. The one in my bedroom is not hardwired, so I can easily pull that one down and change the battery when I need to. And I would prefer that it not be hardwired, because if the power goes out and then there's no battery backup, I'm screwed on that one. So I've got an orange drink. It was last Saturday I attended a wedding, and the bride was someone I call an in-law niece, because she is the daughter of a guy who is a brother to my oldest sister's husband. But to me, she's as much a niece as my oldest sister's daughter. So anyway, my in-law niece got married, and they had a buffet style dinner, and it was pretty good. And then they had music and people danced. I did not, because that's just something I don't do. For one thing, my joints would rebel. But they did the dollar dance, but I still went up to one of the groomsmen and said, I'm not going to dance, but I'm going to drop $1 anyway. So others did that. But originally it was supposed to be outside, but because it had been raining off and on, and it was actually starting to sprinkle when we got to the location, it's a good thing we had it inside. Plus, we had use of the facility for serving the meal. So the cracker had been soaking up some of the juices from the beef. And for those that do drink alcohol, they had a small selection of beers, and they had sodas, and they had Dole brand canned lemonade. So I tried a can of that. I had never seen that before. One of my sisters got it. She liked it. So then one of my other sisters got it. She liked it, and then I went and got a can. But my third sister, she prefers to stick to her diet drinks. So she stuck with diet soda. But I'll tell you, the coffee was so strong, you needed to water it down almost by a third. Any thicker, it would have reminded me of the coffee I had at college in Arkansas. It was almost so thick you could just stand your spoon up in it. But they offered no creamer or sugar for the coffee, so I did drink it black. But this is how I make my coffee. But we still had a good time. Nephew, my in-law great nephew, was a ring bearer, and he was so cute. And then this other little girl in a white dress that, if she was older, could be like a first communion dress. But she was a flower girl. She was really cute. And during the actual ceremony, they had this tree and a small pot. It looked like a pine tree. And then they symbolically planted it into a larger container. And I think what they ended up doing was they probably planted it out on their farm, because my in-law niece and her husband actually have a small farm that they have some animals, and they grow fruits and veggies. And the can koozies that they had for everybody. On one side, it had a tractor on it. So, thought that was pretty cool. Well, I can get it here in Iowa. I have seen sriracha here in Iowa. I don't know if you'd want to come all the way here to get a bottle. There is Gardening Warrior Q in the house. Thanks for dropping in. This is stewed beef with what I'm guessing is barley groats. It'd actually be nice if there was a little bit of pepper in here. I would like this with a little bit more black pepper. Unfortunately, Lithuania, the ration packers do not put pepper in the rations. But this is still very good. I have enjoyed the Lithuanian rations I reviewed a few years ago, and I was happy to get a couple more. The menus have not changed since then as far as the mains go, but a couple of the items might have changed, or the look of items. This is the largest portion of honey I've seen in a ration, but unfortunately it's rock hard. So this would need time and some hot water to soften it up, but I'm just not going to bother with that. This is 30 grams of honey in here. Sorry about the shaking. This foam mount is not exactly the most stable. There is Sean in the house. Thanks for dropping in. But usually you may be getting like 10 grams or 20 grams of honey, but this is 30 grams in here. And these are those infamous special biscuits with the caraway seeds, which I really like. And of course, I can kick myself in the dupa for not actually buying caraway seed to add to my spice stash. I need to do that because I really like the flavor. But right now, I only get it in these. But these are not as hard as they have been, so they're not too bothersome for me to bite into. Some people would have an issue. They would have to soak it in a broth. Or if you have a softer main with more liquid in it, you could let it sit in there from the beginning. Well, next time I go grocery shopping, I am going to look for caraway because I want that in my stash. I've been buying other seasonings, but not caraway. Now that's pretty darn awesome. I can get larger containers of some spices at Hilla Groceries that I would not find in most other stores. You know, I can get the Mediterranean, Middle Eastern spices from there that I like. And I've done that. But I have not seen caraway in there. And of course, I can always order online if I can't find it locally. There may be some stores here that have it, I just don't know about it. And there are some places that I would love to check out, but they're, as far as I know, they're not on a bus route, so I just don't go. If it's not on a bus route, I don't bother. Yep, that's good. You can make your own blends. Yeah, that is, yeah, Rachel has put together some pretty good goodie bags. And I do want to get another one from her one of these days. That will probably wait for another few months. You know, there are other things that I'm focusing on right now. You know, the aid gift money that I got last month, I have been using to add a few items to my preps that I otherwise would not have been able to get. And because my video production in April was so low because I was taking my Ramadan break, my watch hours are down, and of course my ad revenue has been down, but I'm hoping that I will be picking that up. So I'm hoping that I will get a payment soon, because when you're monetized, you have to earn at least $100 by the time Google will send the payment out. And think they usually kick it out towards the end of the month. So when I checked it, it said my analytics said I had like 39 something in the last 28 days. So I'm hoping that I should get a payment fairly soon. And that means I can either buy a ration that I otherwise would not have been able to afford, or the timing is wrong otherwise, or I can buy an item to test and review, or if I need to use it to pay my internet bill. You know, that's pretty much what I use that for, is it's for the channel. One thing about nuts is they do provoke thirst, but I do like these hazelnuts. These are pretty good. But I now have that super thanks button that you would see below the videos, and one person has already made use of it. And it works like a super chat where you can leave a comment. And when I go to my comments tab in my studio on my Kindle, because I set it up to show me the desktop site instead of a mobile site, I can see that highlighted. You know, the amount of the donation along with the comment. So that's pretty cool that you can do that. And I'm also testing out another feature. I will not say what that feature is yet, because this is a test that I was invited to participate in. So I am testing out a feature, and then when that goes public for all YouTubers who are monetized, then I will say what that feature is. So it'll be interesting to see how that works over time. But yeah, I also am putting up more garden update videos. I haven't done just a regular garden update video yet, but I probably will soon, because I have been seeing some growth, but I also am having issues with some of my seeds still not sprouting. And someone commented or replied to my comment about my big boy tomato seeds not sprouting. He said that it may be that it's an issue with that particular seed, because I probably put I put 3 or 4 of them in the ground, or in the pot. And it's my biggest round pot. That's the one that I rescued that was by the shed next to the dumpster, and it had a dead plant in it. So I brought that up last fall. I took that out. I took that dead plant out, and I just saved the soil, and I broke up the roots of that, and they went into my compost. But the bigger chunk of that root, I just let that dry out, and it's probably as big around as my bottle here, the fattest part of it. And for some reason, that plant was put out there instead of being put into the ground with the other ones. Either that or maybe it wasn't one put there by management or maintenance or a landscaper, but someone who just didn't want it anymore. I don't know. Anyway, that pot became mine, and I put my tomato seeds in it. It already had the holes in it, so I didn't need to do anything to that pot. Wow, that's a crapper. I have a few other seeds that have not sprouted either. One of the 3 secret seeds that I got from Belly Acres, that one sprouted. She sent me 4, but one of them was literally broken in the packet. So that one went into the compost. And then the other 3 I planted. And one that I showed in my video where I'm propping them up, I'm already going to have to get a longer stick to put in there because it's still drooping. And I'm afraid that top part will break, and I don't want it to break. Unless I'm supposed to, what they say, top it. Break off the top part of it so that it will bush out. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that because obviously that's a mystery. I don't know anything about it. I just planted it and hoped that something would come up. But my other mystery seeds have not. But I am starting to see a few tiny, tiny sprouts coming up in some of my other containers. And some of my herbs are doing better than some are just now starting to show. The same ones that I grew last year are doing pretty good. Yeah, see, I don't know what... See, it's a big boy tomato. Yeah, Big Boy is a variety. And I am hoping that it is shade tolerant, since that's what I deal with is mostly shade. I get a little bit of sun from the east in the morning, but that's partly obscured by 2 trees and a house. And then in the late evening, I get some sun from the west, but it is partially obscured by a building partition that separates my half of the deck from my neighbor and the trees. And because the sun is, the way it goes down, the building blocks most of it. There's cosmic cultivators in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I have finished off the main entree, which is the stewed beef with groats, and I believe it's barley groats. This is Lithuanian single meal ration menu 2. And I got raw hazelnuts here. So for those that have nut allergies, you might want to steer clear away from these rations because you usually get nuts in every one. I've only eaten the menus that have beef or chicken in them since I don't eat pork. I don't know what would be any of those. But there are plenty of reviews on the other menus that do contain pork. I think there are only 10 menus right now in the Lithuanian lineup. It would be nice if they would do more variety. Maybe change these up. But you get these thick crackers with caraway seeds. These are actually not too bad to bite into, but they are still pretty hard. And I got 2 chocolate bars, Ruta chocolate. It's one of the better quality ration chocolates out there. It's right up there with, I like the French chocolate bars. I like the Polish ones. I like the Russian officer's chocolate bar. And I've had a few bars from Norwegian rations. I got 2 more Norwegian rations to get into, but I won't know what is in them until I open them up. I mean, I could cheat and look, but the Ruta chocolate bars from the Lithuanian rations, that would definitely be a morale booster to the soldier in the field having to have this for a meal. Oh, can't feel your legs. That's not good. I hope you're not having a nerve issue because I know how that goes. Because I have herniated discs in my back, I get that numbness down the legs and into my feet. And if I stand in one position for long enough, then my feet do start to go numb. Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be a hard one, and especially with this heat. That would be a heck of a drive. I sure hope that you're able to beat the heat and you didn't have to stop too often to either fill up with gas or put water in your radiator or coolant or whatever it needs. Oh, yeah. That is not fun. That is not fun. Yeah, my 2 of my sisters went down to Arkansas to get my brother to bring him up here so he could get some work because he just can't get any work down in Arkansas, and because he is currently not able to drive, he's coming up here so he can have access to public transportation. But as far as I know, he's still going to keep his property down in Arkansas. He just needs the money to pay the bills on it. You know, the property is paid off. He just has to pay the taxes and any utilities that he has down there. But the taxes on his property down there are pretty darn low. even though his land value has probably increased by so much since he initially paid $10,000 for it, about probably somewhere between 15 and 20 years ago. I don't remember how long he's had that land, but he'll be up here for who knows how long. So that means I can go hang out with my brother, and that means he will be able to join us in our annual family trip at the beginning of August. Yeah, for the most part, Arkansas is pretty wide open, except for northern parts of Highway 7 through the Ouachita National Forest and the Ouachita Mountains. They call it mountains down there. People who live in the west would say, no, those are just hills. But there are parts of Highway 7 that have more curves on it than a plate full of spaghetti. But several years ago, road crews cut a hole through one of the mountains and ran the highway through it. You can still take the long way around, but you can go through a tunnel, and that cuts your drive time by at least a couple hours. I've been through eastern Arkansas, West Memphis, going into to Memphis, Tennessee, where I had gone through overnight on my way to Alabama, but that was many years ago when I was, I think, a sophomore in high school, or in between my sophomore and junior years, I don't remember. It was quite a long time ago. That's the only time I've ever gone through there. And when I was in college down at University of Central Arkansas in Conway, I did spend one weekend with another student who was my roommate for the first 2 years. But other than that, I've only seen Central Arkansas, and then going into Arkansas from Missouri, the town of Chillicothe we would go through, maybe down through Springfield. That's usually how we would go into Arkansas to get to, at that time, where my parents were living, or if we were going to my brother's property. And since my sisters went down to bring my brother up here, they took that same route. But that tunnel that cuts through the mountain on Highway 7, that takes at least 2 hours off the drive time. And they had pretty easy going, not a whole lot of traffic. So they actually got back up here, including an overnight stay. I think they stayed down in Missouri, somewhere in Missouri, for an overnight, and then they got to my brother's place early in the morning, I guess. That got him and his stuff, and then they just Paul Dupa back up here. So he's back up here for a while, so it'll be good to have my brother back up here. There's DeCarlos Perry in the house. Thanks for dropping in. DeCarlos has this same menu. If you haven't gotten into it yet, you'll enjoy it. Unless you've had it before and you know about it. But menu too. Again, I apologize for that chirping. That is my hardwired smoke detector doing that, and maintenance has to deal with it because I can't. I'm too short to get a good look at it to see where the battery compartment is, if there even is one. Well, when you do, I think you'll like it. I wouldn't have any idea if you get the same drink or the same, got hazelnuts. But you'll definitely get the chocolate. You should get the coffee, which I added sweetened condensed milk to. I didn't use the sugar packet. But I saved these. This will go, I use these when I go camping, or it can be a barter stash. Wow, that really sucks. I mean, I would just do it anyway. Just don't tell them that you did. But here, they don't care if I do it myself. In some places, you have to call to request maintenance to change your light bulbs. The only time I've done that here was when my kitchen light fixture was actually acting up. And when the guy came in to look at it, it was not only one socket was completely cooked, it was not very well installed. It was just barely hanging on. And they put foil up in that hole. Nutheads. So when he put in the new light fixture, he not only did it right, he went ahead and put in 3 LED bulbs that I had. You know, they don't tell me that I can't use a certain kind of bulb in my fixtures. I can put in what I want. I can change them when I want. I don't have to call them to do it. You know, I will only call for a maintenance request for something that I cannot do myself, like I have my bedroom screen replaced. You know, if I've had issues in the past with my my sliding screen door, maintenance fixed that. You know, some other things that I can't do myself, but yeah, if I have a loose hinge, I get a screwdriver, I tighten that bad boy up. You know, they don't need to do every little tiny thing. I prefer to do some of that myself. Yeah, I just have a 2-step stool, but because I'm really short, I cannot see high enough to look at the underside of that smoke detector to see where the battery compartment is. I could not feel for a place where I would take a cover off, so that's why I put in a maintenance request on that. Well, one problem, TN, I don't have a shooter like that. I only have a BB plinker. And I don't dare taking that out trying to pop a hole in that thing, because that could get me into more trouble than I care to bother with. So I prefer to make them do the work on that. After all, I'm paying the rent. They're supposed to take care of stuff that we can't take care of ourselves. But a company rep called me and said that they're so far behind on maintenance requests because they're also dealing with the reno of the other building that was literally vandalized. That one has taken longer to get done than my building, because there are a bunch of idiots in that other one, or they would invite idiots over, and it literally got trashed. I would also have an issue with my aim because I can't aim worth a flip. Because my eyes have a quiver, it's hard to focus, and my distance vision really sucks. And I proved that several years ago when I was shooting with some others during an Iowa YouTuber meetup, and we went to a private range, and it was muddier than crap. This and that is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I finished off a good share of my Lithuanian menu 2, stewed beef with, I'm guessing, barley groats, and I shot an AR, and I put every round in the mud. Then I shot another person's pistol. I don't remember what it was. You'd have to go look at video footage to see what it was. And because that was probably like almost 3 years ago by now, I have absolutely no idea what that was. Again, I put every round in the mud, and I shot my Daisy power line. I still put everyone in the mud. And even the scope on the AR, I just couldn't really get a good line on target. So I just can't shoot worth a crap. That's okay. Wow, I bet that was a long trip from wherever you took off from in Canada to where you're at now. You can ask CT about those long drives because he does it all the time. In fact, in his giveaway video, he answered questions about, not only about rations, but about his long haul driving. All the stuff he has to deal with. Yeah, put a load of birdshot in there. I probably might be able to hit some. That's probably what I would need, but I haven't shot anything like that since I was 17. A summer camp I attended in the summer of '83. They had 12 gauges and 22s, and we shot those, and I put every round in the dirt. And then in '87, when I took an archery class, I probably hit the target maybe 20 times out of all the shots I did. And maybe a couple of them were actually inside the circles. But I did that archery class because back then, the college had a 2 PE class requirement for all majors. And the only 2 classes that were available on campus was archery and swimming. Because I didn't have to leave the campus to do those. No, we had a pool. I did the swimming class, which included some water safety skills. And then the archery, the instructor said, after we did the final, he said that even though my aim was crap, he almost wanted to F me, but he said my technique was good, so he went ahead and gave me an A because he knew that I can't aim worth a flip. I told him that, my vision is not that great. I wouldn't be able to shoot very well. But I've always wanted to shoot a bow since then. But that's okay. You go do what you got to do. But I watch archery videos, and I've watched movies where there are archers, taking part in the action. And I've always wanted to shoot a bow again. I just don't have one. But what we shot were the standard recurves. And that's probably the kind of bow that I would get would be a recurve. Although I wouldn't mind trying to shoot some other bow types, but whatever it is, I wouldn't mind shooting a bow again. I just don't have one, and I don't have access to a range. Someone would have to take me to an archery range where I could try a few different bows and get a feel for them. There is Courtney from Wide Family Farm. And hubby might be there unless he's out doing chores. Yeah, you missed the main event. You missed the stewed beef, which was almost the texture of ground beef. But it tasted really good. I like the way it was seasoned, although I wish it would have had a little black pepper in it. And the ration does not include pepper. Unlike the Polish rations, you get salt and pepper in those. You get salt and pepper in Russian rations. But the Groats is really soft, almost like an oatmeal type, but I think it's barley. There are bits of carrot and mushroom in there, which I don't mind at all. There is CT in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'm glad you could at least check in for a second or three while you're getting ready to wind down for the day, wherever you're at. I hope you're in a place that is not too hot right now, because it is going to be a real heater here. Yeah, tomorrow and Tuesday we could crack 100 Fahrenheit. Yes, I really enjoyed this ration. I had the same menu probably almost 4 years ago. Well, that's cool that you get to chill at home for a night. Yeah, you can't go wrong with the Lithuanian rations. And I would definitely get more of these. Little hazelnuts. It would be nice if they were roasted and salted, but I'll still take them the way they are. Yeah. Yeah, we could crack 100 here, but in Death Valley yesterday got up to 122 Fahrenheit. Now that's a dry heat down there. Crap and hot. I wouldn't need a pot to heat the main up. I would just put the retort pouch on the pavement or on a rock and let the sun heat it up. Yeah, it would be nice if the nuts were roasted too. Yeah, no doubt. And of course, you can never go wrong with the roots of chocolate. I'm actually going to save these other 3 crackers. I'm going to do something else with them. In fact, I could put them inside of this bag and they would fit. This is the one that had the coffee, the sugar, the orange drink, and the honey in. So I can seal these up in this bag. Thanks for dropping in. So I am going to do something with these. I don't know if it'll be on camera or I'll just chow down on them on my own later as a snack, but I got an idea on what or maybe something else. But the honey in here, there is a void in there, but you can hear how hard that is. That's why I didn't open it. This would have to sit in some warm but not boiling water for quite some time for it to soften up. So other than that, as long as this package is not compromised, this will for a long time. So maybe I could take that on a future camping trip. And just leave it like that until I want to use it. This orange drink is almost like Tang. It smelled exactly like it when I opened the packet to pour it into my drinking jar. But I like it. Yeah, it may be artificial, but it doesn't have a weird aftertaste or anything like that. Yeah, I would drink this anytime. But the coffee I drink blonde and sweet, so instead of dumping this big old 12-gram sugar packet in there, this will be enough for 2 cups of coffee. Or if I wanted to have a sweet hot tea, I use one of my packets of sweetened condensed milk and now Lithuanian coffee is not too bad. It's, I guess you could call it a medium roast. It's a powder, not a granule like some other coffees. But, yeah, it's decent coffee. You know, it'll give you that spark that you need to get you going. Otherwise, this spoon will go into my spoon collection, you know, for emergency use. If I have to severely cut back on water usage, and I want to conserve water by not washing utensils, that's when I would get into my stash of plastic utensils and use them. And so these wet wipes, I save these. And then the fuel tabs, I save these for emergency use. So I got a good supply of these. Same with the ration heater. Now these are good ration heaters. I think the first time I had a Lithuanian ration, I used one of these, and these things, they just take off like a rocket. So I definitely like having these ration heaters. And this thin sheet metal folding stove, I even saved these. You know, I got enough of these that I could use them as a barter item. And so if I was doing a barter with someone who needed some portable fuel for whatever I get from that person, I'd say, I got this. You can have a couple of burns with this. And plus, you know, these are so shiny you can almost use them as a signal mirror. Heck, they even got the holes that you could sight your target aircraft through. And these rations come with the zip ties. That you would normally use to seal up the bag when you're done with your meal. So you take your zip tie, you probably crush this box up, and then use the zip tie to close this bag up, and then you would dispose of it all in one shot. And the good old blue tip matches with the striker on each side of the box. So I keep these as well. So they are part of my stash. So I tried, and of course, using the ration bag as my trash bag. I'm not one of those who keeps all the original ration packaging because I just don't have the space for it. Now, I don't want to start plaster them all over my walls because someone might think I'm really, really strange. Even stranger than I will admit. But when you're a prepper, you have to, you got to think about these things. So when you get rations that have all these extra things in it, they are worth holding on to because one day you might have to use these to literally keep yourself going. I could barter this sugar packet, say, for a couple of seeds or maybe some BBs for my daisy or something like that. I don't know. Or just to take with me on the go because, these are pre-portioned. Even though I have also used little pill pouches that I get from Walgreens or Walmart, I have filled them with sugar or coffee creamer. And I keep those in my camping food bag all the time, along with other sugar packets and creamer packets. That's just how I do that. Now next week, I'm thinking I'm either going back to a USMRE. I have two Norwegian rations I could get into. I got the French single meal ration that I originally was supposed to do a collab review with Aletha, but life got in the way for her. So she had to back out of that. So I could do that one. I also have one more Arctic field ration from Minotaur Trading Company that I could do. And I have the other IMP that CT sent me, the shepherd's pie. And when I do that one, I will pull out 2 more of the bars that CT sent. I have the 2 Coffee Crisp bars, the original and the double. So I want to pair those 2 together and actually do a comparison between those 2. And whatever other candy or bar would be in that IMP, I would simply save that for later. If it's not a Coffee Crisp. But I won't know what's in that one until I get it. And that one is one of the later runs of the paper bag IMPs. Now they're in a plastic bag with a Ziploc. And they're actually watertight until you open them to get the stuff out. I don't know if anyone has tested the bag after it's been opened to see if water leaks out, if you fill it with water and then close it, or if water leaks in, if you just put stuff in the bag, seal it, and then dunk it. I don't know if anyone has ever done that with the newer IMP bag. Unfortunately, you can't do that with the newer British ORP bags because they don't have a seal like the IMP bags do. Dang, I love that chocolate. I would love to get this here, but the only way I can get it is in one of these Lithuanian rations. So anyway, those are my choices for next Sunday. So I will have to decide which one I will do. So the Norwegian rations are both vegetarian, and then the Minotaur one is the chicken one. It's the cashew chicken. And then I have, I think I got a chicken MRE. I think I got 2 of those, and I got another. So I got a beef one. And one of these Sundays, I also want to open up that veggie burger and just see what it looks like. Another reviewer opened up one of those, but it was not edible. But he had the whole MRE that had that veggie burger in it, where I just have the veggie burger. And that is the reason why I saved that 2-pack of the wheat snack breads when I had that barbecue beef. Instead of making a sandwich with that, I used one of my own hamburger buns. So if that veggie burger is edible, then I will put that on the wheat snack bread and maybe throw some cheese on it. We'll have to find out if it's edible first, but I want to have a full ration to go along with that in case that veggie burger is not edible. So I haven't decided when I'm going to do that. Now that's an older entree that hasn't been around for a while. It came in one of those tan cardboard boxes like the MRE entrees used to do. So anyway, those are my options for next Sunday. I also have corned beef hash. I reviewed that one probably about five or six, well, about 5 years ago, I think. It's actually not all, yeah, about 5 years ago, I think I reviewed that one. I got it from Foreign MRE, and that one was absolutely awesome. So I got it again because they had another one, and I think Foreign MRE still has one of those. I don't know how many they have left in their current inventory, but that one might still be available. Or I just may choose to eat that one on its own. I don't know. But I opened the bag to inspect the contents. Just to make sure everything was not damaged in it, because the bag itself had some tears in it. But, you know, I'm okay with that. But so far everything appears to be in good shape. So I don't know when I'll do that, or if I'll do that one on camera, or just have that one for private enjoyment. I don't know. But I will think about it. I will make a decision, and I will post up what I've decided to do. And I hope you all liked what I hope is an improvement in the lighting here because I have a light coming from my left with my Olight Nitor that I showed you last time. I might play with the different brightnesses to see which one looks the best to you. So I hope that's an improvement, having a little light coming from the left as well as from my right and above. I hope it makes everything look okay. But I guess for now I'm going to call this one good. I do want to thank you all for dropping in. And for those that could only stay for a bit, they can always catch it on the replay after YouTube gets done processing it. But anyway, again, I want to thank you all for watching and to catch you on the flip side.